Welcome to another episode of African Stories with Anwuli. Today's episode is titled The Spirit Princess and the Hunter. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. In a faraway land at the edge of the great Akwuobi Forest, there lived a poor hunter called Ekene. Ekene was the first son of his aged parents and the least skillful of all the offsprings of Akeze Jiofo. His two younger brothers had amassed a good fortune from selling off the meat and hide from the game they hunted deep in the abundant Akwuobi Forest. The second son of Akeze Jiofo, called Ekene, had even created a business of crafting beautiful leather footwear and bags, which he sold far and wide. The third son of Akeze Jiofo had also become very wealthy, crafting special furniture and garments for the households of the rich and mighty, including the king of Akwuobi. Ekene, on the other hand, found himself with not much luck in the hunting business. Each day he would set off for the forest, but would only return with very little game. Now, in that deep forest there lived many spirits, one of which is Teta. Teta was a beautiful lady, and she would often join the humans in hunting, but first she would get rid of her spirit body and could be seen peeling off the feathers before she could run into the forest and join everyone else in hunting. She loved to play these games, even though her mother was not very happy about it. She would do as she pleased. They would warn her, one of these days you will get seen by the humans, but she would never listen. Well, such a day came. Ekene happened on this beautiful princess, and he stayed far away in wonder and watched her. He knew of the stories about the princess. He knew of the story of her family as well, but he was very careful. Each day he would return, and he would see her take form and go into the wild and hunt for her family. He made up a plan one day that he would approach her, perhaps to ask her to bless him and help him in his own hunting. So one of those days he did approach her. Teta was startled to see him. She knew she had been found out. And he said to her, "Please help me with my hunting. I have not been successful. I really need your help. Everyone laughs at me back home. I don't bring back much." Teta said to him, "I will help you. The only thing is, you will have to help me too. Because now that you have seen me, I actually cannot go back into my spirit form." "How so?" He said, "This is the way of our land. I will show you." So, Ekene would come and hunt with her, and she would make sure that he went back with a lot of game. And they would stay in the forest and chat, and he would tell her all about his life while she explained to him about her life. Very soon they got to know each other very well. Day after day, they would meet in the forest and they would discuss. Till one day, Teta decided that she had to go back, but Ekene would not hear of it. He said, "Remember what you told me. You told me that you cannot go back into your spirit world. Is that not so?" She said, "Yes. I have now become a friend to you. I have made sure that you have food for your family. But in doing that, I have lost some of my own way. I am now a different being." So he said to her, "Why don't you come with me and live with me? I will make sure that you're taken good care of." He made her many promises, and Teta listened carefully, and she was moved by his words. And so she made the decision to let her family know that she would go into the human land. They were not happy, but they gave her their blessings. And so Ekene took Teta back into the village. There were many that did not find this a good thing. They knew that she was a spirit princess, and they were not happy that she had come to live with them. But they could not tell him this. Ekene became a very successful hunter with her help. He would come back with a lot of game, and very soon he joined his brothers in selling this game, and he did this over and over again. People now knew that they were together, and so they allowed things to go on. Ekene decided to open up shops and started to sell his wares far and wide. People would come and buy the beautiful crafted materials, and he became rich. And so Ekene decided it was time to build a home, and he did that, and even more. Soon everyone knew of Ekene, and they knew of his wealth. And they would often say that this was a rich man, a very successful man. But they also knew that Teta was the reason for his wealth. And even though they had decided not to say anything against it, tongues wagged all the same in the village. Ekene on his own part was very happy. However, he started to get very proud. And it wasn't too long before he started to attract the wrong type of attention. Beautiful ladies looked at him and said, "Is this not Ekene? Ekene that was so poor. Now he is rich." And of course, they decided it was time to find themselves a husband, and Ekene would do just fine. Now, Teta was very happy at home. She did the chores. She made sure she cooked. She made sure that she helped the household. She was happy, but then she would often hear of the rumors outside, but she decided not to think much of it. But it wasn't long before Ekene started to treat her differently at home. He would get angry with her for every little thing. And very soon he started to say to her, "Well, you are different. Everyone knows you're different. You are a disgrace. You embarrass me. People call you a spirit. They tell me I'm not man enough, that you're the reason why I'm wealthy." He was not happy about it. He would remind her about her spirit form. Now, Teta would think about this whenever he went hunting. She would do the chores around the house, but she was very sad indeed. They had had an agreement. He had promised to protect her, but now he was changing and changing very fast. One day, Ekene came home and he decided he'd had enough of her. He did not want her to be in his home anymore. She was too different. She was a spirit. Everyone knew. He knew. And he wanted her to leave his home. Teta tried to plead with him and explained to him that she could not go back to the forest. But her pleas fell on deaf ears. Ekene would not hear of it, so he sent her away. Teta had no choice but to pack her things and try and find somewhere else to go. She went as far as the next village, seeking help. Luckily for her, an old lady saw her on the road and stopped to ask her what was happening. Teta explained who she was and what had happened with Ekene, and how she had been so very happy living in his home and being taken care of by him and taking care of him in return, but that Ekene had grown prideful and had sent her away. The old lady said, "Come with me, you may live with me." So Teta joined the old lady, and she cooked for her and took care of her and would make sure she did all what she was supposed to do to keep her home. And the lady would often ask her to help out with selling clothes, and Teta was happy to do that. So Teta would carry the clothes in a basket and go into the village and the market square and sell her wares. One such day, someone was behind her, riding on a horse, and he stopped to look at this beautiful lady, all by herself, carrying her basket, trying to sell wares. Unknown to her, this was Obinna, and he was a prince from a different village. He saw the beautiful lady, and he liked her, and he thought of a way to approach her. So Teta carried on each day, going about her duties, going to the market, buying food, going back home, doing household chores, and then going on to sell the fabric. And each time as she walked around, Obinna would hang around, trying to catch a glimpse of her. Ekene, on the other hand, had decided to get himself two wives to replace the spirit princess he had been living with. He felt he was rich, and as a rich man, that would be befitting. So he went in search, and he got them, and then he married them and brought them home. And he lived with the ladies, and everyone said, "Oh, Ekene, you are indeed a great man now." So not one but two wives, very rich and very popular. And Ekene was happy with this. So one day, Prince Obinna made the decision to send one of his servants to approach Teta on her walks to go and sell fabric. And the servant explained to her that Prince Obinna Nnabife of Ibunta village was in love with her and would want to see her. And she, on her part, explained to him of how she lived with this elderly woman that had come to her aid and would seek her permission for the prince to visit. And so Teta did exactly that. And then Prince Obinna could approach her afterwards, and he would speak with her whenever she came out to the market square, and he would return with her and sit with her in her home and discuss. They would get to know each other and talk about many things. Teta was very happy to meet him. Prince Obinna Nnabife was very kind to her and very patient, and as such, Teta responded very well. It wasn't long before they both fell in love and they started to talk every day. Ekene's household was anything but peaceful. His two wives were not getting along with each other. Each day Ekene would return to settle quarrels between them. The villagers talked and laughed at him. In fact, the two wives would not do any house chores. Ekene often came home to cook for himself, wash for himself, and very soon the whole household was quarreling. He decided he had made a mistake and he had to do something to correct his mistake, but he was not sure what. Things got worse for him. His two wives would go to his shop and make trouble and fight with his workers and his customers. They would go and use up anything they wanted to, and they would boast, "Do you not know who we are? Do you not know who our husband is?" Very soon, they started to wreck him financially. Till one day, they decided to pack up all of his things, all of the gold they could find in his house, and any money at all. They took this for themselves and they decided they were not interested in being married to him anymore. Ekene was in trouble. He had lost everything. The villagers mocked him. They laughed at him. "Look at him, big for nothing. What a fool. You had Teta who built you, Teta who had given you so much and was peaceful, respectful to us. But you decided you did not want her. Now look at yourself." And they laughed at him. Now Teta was with the prince, and the prince had decided to ask her to be his wife. And he asked her if she would travel with him to his village and live with him. Teta spoke to the elderly woman who she lived with, and the woman gave her blessings. And they decided that they would all move as a household. This pleased Teta very much, and so they started to make preparations for how to travel with the prince and get married. Now, it wasn't long before Ekene heard of this, and he realized that he was about to lose Teta for good. He was now back to hunting nothing in the forest. He had gone back to what it used to be. So he decided to send one of his servants to go and plead with Teta. And the servant got there and explained to Teta that Ekene was very sorry and had changed his ways and he wanted her back. And Teta said to him, "But I can't. I am to be married. I am very much in love with Prince Obinna Nnabife." "This is not possible. I cannot return with you. Please go back to your master and let him know that it is too late." And the servant went back. And so it was that Teta got married to her prince, Prince Obinna Nnabife, and he named her on that day Princess Teta Nonyelim Nnabife. And so she was to abide with him for all time. Teta was very happy, and the people of his village rejoiced and welcomed their new princess to their village. And everyone spread the news around till it got to Ekene. He was shattered. Ekene was now left with nothing. Once upon a time, he had been successful. He had had Teta to himself, but he had made a foolish mistake. He was prideful and he was greedy, and he thought that he could always have more and more, but it was not to be so. So he had no choice but to carry on with his life. Ekene went back to the forest, trying to eke out a living for himself, and villagers would talk about him, and they would often say to their children, "Learn from Ekene's mistakes. Learn. Beware of greed. Be kind to people. Be content with what you have. And most of all, do not forget those who gave you a helping hand in your time of need, because you do not know what tomorrow holds. Learn."